Hi everybody, welcome to chapter 13 in our web marketing class. We're going to be looking today at customer service and support in the web environment. A couple of things that you're going to see when you're going through this chapter and you're going through the slides that I want to kind of explain beforehand. You're going to see B2B and B2C a lot. If you've not had a marketing class, you need to know that every time you see B2B, that means business to business. That's how a business sells to another business or how a business acquires service for another business. B2C is business to consumer. That's just as important, but that's probably more what you're interested in because you want to look at how a business interacts with different consumers. So in this chapter, again, just like in the last chapter, there are a lot of charts and a lot of graphs, so it'll help you a lot to have your book on hand as I go through a lot of the content. If you have any questions, as always, contact me. Let me know. I'm here to help. So we start out, by asking a question. We ask, in your mind, could you tell us what poor customer service look like or what excellent customer service look like? And let's be honest, every single one of us has a story as to why poor customer service is easier to discuss than excellent customer service. I was at a restaurant last week and the waiter messed up our order, forgot to bring us plates back. Just total horrible service that I've never received that bad in my life. And my wife was kind enough to write him a note and tell him everything that he did wrong, and we didn't leave a tip. But that was a bad customer service experience that I will now remember. When I have excellent customer service, it's kind of expected, and that's one of the things you have to understand going into business is that this is part of it, and it's something you have to see and it's something you have to consider. So what we're seeing now is that more people are angry about customer service than they ever have before. We cite a few studies, and I think these are all very, very, very valid studies, and you can see the sample size in our textbook, but you can see that we have angrier people and angrier customers today. I will argue this is a generational thing. I mean, I'm part of the 18 to 35-year-old demographic, and a lot of you in this class are too. And we're the type that are more than likely to be angry if we don't receive good customer service. And now we have outlets and media to express how bad our customer service was. So that creates a challenge and that creates a problem as well. So that's something to consider as well. So when you have customers experiencing problems, the majority of them will complain. 4 out of every 5 customers end up complaining. 20% might not complain, and then about half of those won't come back and repurchase. But if you resolve when they express complaints, they'll be satisfied with your resolution. Most of them will repurchase. The majority of them that felt, okay, it was all right, they'll still repurchase. But if somebody was dissatisfied, the likelihood of them not repurchasing is very, very, very high. So please keep that in mind and realize that when you have a complaint, you have a responsibility to the customers. So we know that the cost of poor customer service has been a $1 billion problem more than anything else. We see that this has caused $338.5 billion worth of problems. If you want to look at this in the book, they'll expand on this a little further on page 351. But I think it's worth visiting. Taking you back a little bit, if you remember in chapter 4, and I know that's asking you to go back quite a bit. One of the things that we looked at in chapter 4, we looked at Harrah's and Caesars and casinos' idea of frequent player cards. You remember me telling you the story about somebody takes a slot card, they track your play and your usage, and they found that the people most likely to return were the ones who were playing penny and nickel slots versus your high roller gamblers who didn't necessarily care about the incentives. So one of the things that Harrah's as an organization did, basically they come up with incentives for their customers. They wanted you to be somebody that gave excellent customer service. And if they did, they provide you with bonuses. They provide customer satisfaction surveys, and as somebody who has been to Vegas a lot and has gone to casinos, I've given surveys out from Caesars and Harris, basically saying, this is what I thought went great, this is what I thought went wrong. I remember one time I was in a poker room for about 10 hours, and I had somebody even call me. This was about 4 or 5 years ago, and they wanted customer service information. And because of that, I mean, it was kind of interesting to me that they actually took that into consideration. And then I'm reading in the textbook that, well, they're doing this so that they can actually know the satisfaction level of their customers and reward their employees. If your business expands, this is something you might want to consider doing as well, because this is good service. So this graph, and it's pictured well, but if you want to take a better look at it, this is available on page 362 or 352 of our textbook. But you'll see that if you have good customer service, the majority of people are willing to spend more. But specifically, your affluent population and your young professionals, these are the ones that if they have good customer service, they're going to spend a lot more in. These are your target populations right here. You want, if you can appeal to people that are coming for money, that are middle to upper class, it's going to help your business grow, and it's going to provide you with a good experience. So once again, let me remind you what this means. B2B means business-to-business markets, and I can kind of demonstrate to you, showing you that even business-to-business, customer service matters, sales and account management matters, and marketing matters as well. So this is business to consumer winners, and these are ratings that are done. I found this to be very interesting. This was on page 354 of our textbook, but what I think is important to see here is you're looking at a lot of industries that are in different segments and in different dynamics. Obviously, Four Seasons Hotels and Resorts, that's a higher chain. Nordstrom is a higher department store. Publix isn't exactly a higher level supermarket. Lexus, you don't need me to tell you how good a Lexus is. The Ritz-Carlton is a high level hotel. Barnes & Noble, average retailer. Ace Hardware, average retailer. Amazon, every demographic. So this is showing you how important quality of customer service is in the places that seem to do well with their customer service. I think this is worth a look and worth exploration. You might remember at the beginning of the course, I talked a lot about Southwest Airlines being one of the better places for customer service, and they still are. They're one of the few airlines that receives positive ratings for customer service. So business to business, this doesn't pick up really well on the slide. I try to enlarge it a little bit. If you look at page 355, you'll see some of the business to business individuals that have done well in interacting with companies. Cisco, you've all heard of. You might have heard of Genesis Telecommunications Laboratories. But these are some of the business to business winners. You're certainly welcome to look at that on your own as well. So what should customer service do? What should it look like? Here are some promises that people give you. They'll say, we'll give you quality service. We'll deliver correctly 99% of the time. If we meet your contract start date, we'll give you a 1 week free rental for every late day. Think about any of you that have built a home or paid to have a home built. If you go with a builder that tells you that we have your home guaranteed by a certain date, they'll pay your mortgage for the first couple months if there's a holdup. These are things that can create positive customer service relationships, and you need to be aware of them and understand them. So most customers don't get what they want when they have a problem. Most say they just want to be treated with dignity, and that doesn't happen. Some just wants an apology or thank you for the business. Most people, I'm thinking, are saying something like, I want my money back, and you can see that most people don't get that. But I think this is interesting because it shows you that people have certain remedies that they want, and this was under the National Consumer Rage Study, which is fascinating. If you're interested in marketing and you're going to pursue a bachelor's or graduate degree in marketing, I think this chapter is something that might be able to help you in the future, and it's certainly worth a look at. So what do people want? Most people want, no matter what, They want the opportunity to speak with a real person on the phone. That's what people want when they have a customer service complaint. Now, that goes against everything we're saying in this class, right? Because we're saying in this class, we want to create an environment that's digital where people can receive customer service through a digital environment. Well, that's fine. You have to know that if you are having problems with something or customers having problems, there's no reason why you as the business owner can't give them a direct phone number where they can contact somebody. I know my biggest pet peeve is if I have to do something and I have to make a customer service complaint, or I need to get a hold of somebody, I have to wait on hold for 20 minutes or 30 minutes before I speak to somebody. SiriusXM is a perfect example of that. I've tried to call multiple times to cancel my membership, and sometimes I'm on hold for 30 or 40 minutes before I can actually talk to somebody, and I'm stuck speaking to a computer. The cost of that kind of outweighs the benefit, which is the struggle with it. But if you want to retain customers, it's probably the best thing that you can do. So, does internet customer service shift preferences to lower cost internet channels? That's debated, and you can see that again, that most people are more interested in human interaction. It's very important to people. Some people want to make sure that the customer service rep is knowledgeable, and for those of you that ever had to do customer service through instant message, you can know that can be difficult. If you want to try what it's like, and you have Comcast, try Comcast's instant message feature. It's fascinating because they have representatives that are available at all hours of the day, and they respond to you and they try to resolve your complaint. They try to resolve your complaint in a quick and efficient manner. Certainly worth exploring. So customer service strategies are evolving. As we said, we're moving to web-enabled with live assistance, and then sometimes we have anticipatory customer service, meaning that they have a set of rules. If you answer the rules and you do what you're supposed to do, you click this button if this is the problem. You press 5 if the problem is about your connection, something like that. A lot of places have resolved to do this. I'm not going to lie to you, and I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like this, and I know there's a lot of people that don't like this because I don't want to hear what the 10 options are before I select what my problem is. I want to talk to somebody and tell them what my problem is. Some people might be different than me on this. So this is the problem right here. Call center agents cost about $9 per interaction that they have. And when you see this, I want you to see what this looks like. $9 per interaction essentially means that pays for their benefits, that pays for their wages, that pays for their salary. They're not getting $9 for every call, but that's per interaction on average they have from working in a call center. And some of these people are making good money. This is a difficult job. The click to call is something that we really don't cover in this textbook, but in the other marketing class, I did cover it a lot. But this is basically where the website hides the phone number information and they try to resolve all your problems, and then there's a button that says, if none of these answers your questions, click here, then they give you the number. Basically, it makes you surf through a lot of different channels, and then you choose to call, and that's a little more efficient. Click to chat, that's opening up a browser and chat window. Email's obviously a lot cheaper. A virtual agent, somebody who can be on hand to help through chat or through another facility or an automated thing. And then self-service, which that's going to cause you to lose customers. It's the cheapest thing to do, so that's something to consider as well. So, self-service does have good potential. When people are happy with it and it can resolve a need, it's good. But people that aren't happy with it don't like it when they can't get a hold of somebody and the customer can't fix the situation. So some people are going to resist it. I still hate it, but the idea is you need to make sure your technology is working and it's appropriate and you'll be good to go with it. So here's an example in the book from Eddie Bauer. Let me find the page for you so you can reference this. This is on page 361, but it goes over the different types of customer service that exist and kind of the guarantees that they provide to consumers. So another example, we're looking at British Airways. 363, this is then basically showing you that the mobile app can provide you with customer service as you need it. Our textbook, I think it's important to note, you've learned this, we're almost done with the course, but our textbook covers a lot of the British and international businesses, but you'll see that a lot of them have switched to mobile long before the United States does. And that is a cultural thing, but European outlets have really relied on their phones for Wi-Fi more than laptops. And we're just kind of getting to that point now here in the United States. So the British Airways process, the first thing you do is apologize. That's difficult for some people to do. Then you respond, try to help them resolve the problem, give them whatever channel they want, meaning we can do it by email, we can text you, we can call you. I think that's important. I think if you can provide an option that says this is the channel that I want to provide, that might help. So that's another consideration as well. So this is showing you how even the government benefits from good customer service. The DMV, if you've had the opportunity to visit the DMV anytime lately, you know that can be a very, very, very positive experience where you're sitting there just angry and mad the entire time. If you watch South Park, you might remember a couple seasons ago, there was the episode when Butters was going to the DMV and everybody was angry and miserable there, and he wanted to show the good in the DMV. I always think of that. If this was a face-to-face class, I would probably show a clip from that. But most people go in the DMV and they realize they're going to be miserable. So why not try to create a positive environment for people? If you need information, have a well-designed website. Present it, put it on there, let people access it. When that happens, emails decrease, people don't call as often, and most of the issues can be handled online, and then the service reps are only there to deal with the major difficult problems. So you have to make sure that the mentality of the customer service is reflected in the organization. Service is better than long-term effort. You want to hit the problem now, not make it a continuous improvement. You need to improve it immediately. You have to make sure that when you measure the processes that you're doing, if you find that one is effective, that it gets managed appropriately. Technology can give you ways for it to improve. If you want to access a person if necessary, you need to be able to do that. Some places are making it near impossible to do that. And your goal is to just improve experiences for people so they do have good customer service. So giving you another graph that's in the book, this is available on page 365. You can take a look at the different pillars of strategic customer care. I would say the most important one obviously is managing customers clearly and consistently, but you can see how the other stages certainly apply as well. So technologies for delivering customer service. This is difficult for me because a lot of this stuff I don't like. Interactive voice response, if you can't tell already, I speak a little fast, but I still want to give you good videos for the course. But one of the things that this does for me is when I have an interactive voice response, I talk a little too fast on it, and that causes a problem. Intelligent call routing is when you basically don't say yes or no to respond, but they'll say, tell me a little bit about your problem. And you talk, they listen for keywords, then they route you to the right person. Most places will say your call may be recorded or monitored. They'll do that so that they can review their processes. And some of them will track problems and actually say, this has commonly been occurring, this is a resolution, that sort of thing. Websites do different modules. They can send text to you for updates. They can directly connect you to an agent. You can have even a voice-activated one that can connect with Skype as well. So these are all considerations that you can use in terms of technology for delivering customer service. So social media. I don't really want to talk much about this because we're obviously going to cover this later in the class, and it's something to consider in the last chapter, but we're going to find that social media basically says that customer service is not, it's going to be mostly people resolving complaints. People want to post and they want to complain, and that tends to be the problem. So, if you differentiate customer service, it's profitable, but there are disadvantages to it. One of the challenges that comes with this is sort of this notion of cost. If you differentiate how you're doing customer service, you have to pay lots of money, and you have to figure out how those experiences can work and if somebody's not meeting the appropriate protocol. So what should you do? And if you're in a marketing or strategic planning class, you'll learn this, but most of the time, we'll sit you down, and once again, if this was a face-to-face class, I would do this. I would call half the class out of the room,